and thank you for joining us for the first edition of News Across Nigeria for the week. I'm Olumide Macaulay. On today's edition, the strike action in Osun State by doctors continues for its fourth month. And police in Osun State and River State intensify the fight against crime. And in north-central Nigeria, the Benue State government gives the green light for Enterprise Development Center. We start in the southwest, where residents in Osun State are lamenting the pains of a 4-month-old strike by doctors in the state government service. They're appealing to the state government to talk with the doctors so they can return to work.
121.7 billion naira. That's the amount allotted to the health sector in the 2016 budget. With that amount, one would expect that medical services should be free from hiccups. Fortunately, the opposite is the case. In Osun State, southwest Nigeria, the matter of welfare and the resulting strike by doctors has been lingering for some time.
We've been on strike for over 4 months because government has decided not to pay our wages, and they've decided not to also implement some of our outstanding circulars on remunerations and co.
This has led to patients filling hospital halls, probably because that's the most obvious place to be noticed by the doctors who chose to make themselves available. The wards are empty, and any patient here is left to fate.
I have a patient at a private hospital here. I've been to Lautech, but we couldn't find any doctors there.
The situation has forced citizens to seek alternatives, and these expectant mothers have taken their health concerns to this traditional healing center.
If you have anything that is hindering us in any aspect, you go to doctor and complain. There's no doctor to complain to.
I will try to advise the Mr. Governor to pay their salary in time.
The government says it is concerned and wants this resolved quickly.
There is no part of the country that is not being hit by the prevailing economic situation, and to that extent, we have to look at what we are negotiating on and what we are agreed upon. So I can tell you that the government has shifted its ground, and if the doctors return to work tomorrow, I can assure you that their pay will be made available to them immediately.
The doctors are not moved and have their own resolution.
From this meeting, we have resolved that by Wednesday, 17th of February, all the other doctors in the state will join in solidarity with our members that have been suffering, that have been sent out of their homes, whose children have not been able to go to school, and whose cars have been turned to kabu-kabu. That we are going to support them strongly, and we are going to commence 3-day warning strike from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
A popular saying about elephants fighting and leaving the grass to suffer is the best way to describe this situation, because until the matter is resolved, once and for all, patients will always bear the brunt of this.
We'll stay in Osun State, where we turn to crime there now, and we'll also visit with River State, where security is also the main issue. Security operatives in Osun and River State have promised to intensify the clampdown on suspected criminals, making life unbearable for residents in both states. The army and the police say they will collaborate in order to reduce crime across the length and breadth of both states, and urge residents to continue to make useful information available if they know about it concerning suspected persons and their activities.
Suspects lined up at the Nigerian Army headquarters in Rivers State, south Nigeria. They have been accused of terrorizing communities in Eche local government area of the state. According to the Assistant Director, Army Public Relations, Captain Eli Lazarus, the arrest was made possible by the public, who gave the Army a tip-off.
When our men conducted the raid operation, 4 young men were arrested, and 2 pump action rifles were recovered. We've conducted preliminary investigation, and we are going to hand them over to the Department of State Security for in-depth investigation.
Also, at the police headquarters, 2 suspected robbers, one of whom the police say has gone back to his old ways, are also paraded. It's a similar story in the southwest in Osun State, where 4 suspected armed robbers who invaded 3 commercial banks in Ikirun area have been arrested. Items recovered include over 7 million naira cash, rifles, ammunition, and vehicles.
I really bow my heart for members of the public, because the gossip says that they are the one pointing, telling our men, our SAS men, the movements, when we destabilize them. When they couldn't get their operational vehicle, they started running to the houses, to the bush. Members of public, they are the one pointing, telling us where and where to get them.
With security agencies coming all out against crime, citizens have been asked not to relent in giving useful information to security personnel.
He may not have gotten the chance to govern Ogun State, but the People's Democratic Party governorship candidate, Mr. Boyega Ishaka, has some advice for the state government. Here it is. He believes that human capital development should be prioritized by the current administration, having increased the state's internally generated revenue and investment over the years.
The fact of the matter is that, yes, we are not where we were 40 years ago, but we're also not where we ought to be 40 years after. And I think the most important thing for us now is that as we go into the next decade, into the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, what are some of those things that we would like to see? Unfortunately for us, that is the time of very fast growth. It is like it's the time that we expect for us to have what is called knowledge economy. What we expect to have at that time is a high-tech system. And most of the things that we are calling something today may not even worth anything. The oil that we are talking about today may worth nothing at that time. All those resources that we have listed may worth nothing at that time. And yet, our population will have at least doubled. The population at the rate is going, we keep doubling almost every 10 years. So the issue is that how do we want people at that time to live? I think that is really what we are faced with. And I am strongly believe that the decision as to how to go about it and what to do is in the hand of all of us.
You're watching news across Nigeria. Coming up, the Benue State government has given the green light for the completion of the Central Bank of Nigeria's Enterprise Development Center in the North Central region. Please stay with us.